Hillary Clinton's new book is in trouble. Welcome to the Shakaama Live Show with your host, Shakaama. So, Hillary Clinton's new book came out. In the book, she blames everyone but herself as to why she lost. She spent a lot of time blaming Bernie Sanders and finally says he was and is not a Democrat. That being said, it is now coming out that Amazon Books has removed one-star reviews of the book and is even banning people that leave one-star reviews. However, that being said, hard copies of the books in bookstores are seeing a tremendous failure to sell the books. In her previous book, Hard Choices, the sales tumbled immediately. The publisher is not going to make his $14 million advance from the book. Quote, sales of Hillary Rodham Clem's new memoir, Hard Choices, declined 43.5% to 48,000 copies in its second week on the shelves, according to Nielsen Bookscan, the Times reports. The sales failure put pressure on the publisher Simon & Schuster, which paid Mrs. Clinton a multi-million advance to write about her time at the State Department and has invested heavily in the book's rollout, one of the biggest of the year. First week sales typically account for about 30% of the total, thanks to the publicity blitz that accompany publishers' biggest releases. That means Hard Choices could fall far short of the 1 million copies that Simon & Schuster shipped to bookstores, industry executives said. Publishers sell books on consignment and must take back copies that do not sell in the stores. The second week figures also increases the likelihood that Simon & Schuster will not sell enough books to make up for Mrs. Clinton's advance, said a publishing executive who did not want to speak on their record discussing a competitor's book. Another previous book published during the campaign was a flop as well. Quote, Hillary Clinton's latest book looks like a flop, at least compared to her previous publishing endeavors. The Democratic nominee new tome, Stronger Together, written with her running mate Tim Kaine and published on 6 September, has sold less than 3,000 copies in its first week on sale, according to Nielsen Bookscan. In her new book, What Happened, at a mere $2 million, they're not going to make their advance again. In fact, the Democratic Party made no bones about not wanting her to go on her book tour and remove herself from the limelight. Quote, alas, if prices are any indicator of demand, which they're pretty much universally accepted to be unless you're discussing minimum wages with Bernie Sanders, then Hillary Clinton may want to double down on efforts to rush out the sequel, as both Amazon and Walmart have decided to slash prices of What Happened by 40% before the book even hit shelves. After Hillary publisher Simon & Schuster suggested a price of $30, Amazon slashed prices to $17.99 earlier today. Despite dozens of people lining up in New York City for a signed copy of Hillary Clinton's new book, things may not be going as well as expected for the twice-failed Democratic presidential candidate. Even Democrats have bashed the leaked excerpts of the book titled What Happened, comparing it to the political equivalent of a childish blame game. It's not just Washington, D.C. that's sick of her. It seems the American people are tired of listening to Hillary, and they are letting their cash do the talking. Desperate to push sales, major retailers like Amazon and Walmart have already begun offering the book at clearance level prices. According to the Washington Examiner, major retailers have already relegated the book to the sale section, slashing the price by 40% on the first day of publication. Book publishers rely on heavy pre-sales and first-day buzz to generate much of their revenue. The industry makes as much as 30% of a book's total revenue on the first day. An ominous fact when you consider how desperate these two major sellers are getting rid of their inventory. This wouldn't be Hillary's first book sales failure, of course. Her 2014 book, Hard Choices, which paid her $14 million in advance, was a total flop. According to reports, sales of the 2014 book fell significantly short of the break-even point, causing publisher Simon & Schuster to lose millions of dollars. To Amazon's credit, their sales stunt seemed to have worked. Hillary's latest book, at a serious discount, has managed to claw its way to the top of Amazon new releases on Tuesday. Not to be outdone, however, voters of President Donald Trump have organized and flooded into bookstores across the country to undo the damage. They've begun buying up copies of Trump's book, Great Again: How to Fix a Crippled America, and their movement quickly gained steam. In just hours, Trump voters had increased the sales of two editions of the president's books by a staggering 14,286% and 6,110% respectively. Where does that rank Trump's book sales? As of 2:30 Eastern Standard Time, it was number one overall on Amazon's bestseller list for United States national government. Hillary's wasn't even ranked. Thank you for watching the Shakaama Live Show. Make sure you like the video.